Brandon Cutler here at Florida Supercon in Miami Beach, coming all the way from the other side of the country, California, to participate in Fantasy Super Cosplay Wrestling, FSCW. This is unbelievable. Trained pro wrestlers in cosplay. What's it like for you to get the call to be a part of FSCW?
Oh, I was ecstatic, man. This is my worlds colliding. Wrestling and cosplaying. Cosplay is what brought my wife and myself together, and so we bonded a lot over that, and that became a huge part of our lives. And wrestling was always a big part of my life, obviously. And so seeing the two come together in such a great, harmonious way, oh, like this just makes sense.
Comic-Cons, have you been to them out in California?
Yeah, I've been to San Diego Comic-Con once. I'll be going again in a couple weeks after this. I can't wait. That'll be the second time. I've been fortunate enough to land some tickets there. It's almost like landing tickets at an AEW show. And then I've been to WonderCon a bunch and LA Comic-Con, which used to be known as Kamikaze, Stan Lee's Comic-Con. So I've been to a whole lot, the whole run that's out there. Long Beach Comic-Con too, thinking about that. Yeah, we've done a bunch of cosplays while we've been at those too. We've done, my wife and I have done Gambit and Rogue, we've done Superman and Wonder Woman, we've done a little bit more niche audience if you know Critical Role, they run Dungeons and Dragons. We did Greg and Vexalia, or Grog and Vexalia, sorry.
So this is like a family thing to be able to do this. Was the wife able to come with you for this one?
No, she has to stay home. We got 2 kids now since we've been starting a family, so she can't travel with me everywhere, but she would so be into this too. She'd be, like I was just telling some of the people, I'm like, man, we could be doing Gambit and Rogue together.
How did you learn about this? How did you find out about this?
Just on Twitter. Somebody in the wrestling world must have retweeted something from them, and I like caught wind of it of like, hey, wait a second, those guys are in cosplay in a wrestling ring. And I looked and delved deeper and went all the way down the rabbit hole and found out what it really was. And I was like, oh my God, they do full-on wrestling shows with cosplay. Like, that's my jam.
How did you get started in pro wrestling?
In pro wrestling, I trained with the Young Bucks. So they used to have a ring that they'd set up in their backyard in between their shows, and they would just run training like every Saturday. And I would just do it with them, just every Saturday, just hang out, work out, train. And then eventually I kind of just got roped into the whole thing along with them. I started working some independents around, and if you're getting trained by the Bucks, you're gonna be a little good, I assume. Where
has wrestling take you? You've been wrestling throughout California. What other places did you get to wrestle?
I've been able to wrestle in Canada. I've gone to Mexico to help the Bucks, but I haven't wrestled in Mexico. A lot of just the United States, like in Nevada, Arizona, Tennessee, Florida now.
You just recently got involved with AEW. So was it through the Bucks that you were able to land in AEW?
Yeah, it was knowing them and being able to help them behind the scenes a lot. Just offering my services with no reward attached to it. Just saying like, hey, if you guys need help, I'm there for you, kind of a thing. And then just becoming like one of the people that they trusted the most to get stuff done. And that's where they kind of trusted me enough to literally hand me a contract at this point. Let's be honest, like I'm nobody in wrestling at this point. And they were kind enough to offer me a contract, and I can't thank them enough for that.
And tell us what you got to be involved in.
With All Elite, it started at All In. I got to be at the Battle Royal with that, and then with All Elite now is in the second Battle Royal, the Casino Battle Royal, and now we're going to be going to TV, and I'll be involved with all that too. It's insane.
What has the journey been like for you?
This has been just, I'll say it's kind of beyond a dream. It's not just a dream job, because a dream job would have been just making it in wrestling or like having some kind of a job where I make enough to support my family. This is beyond a dream, because now I'm making it in wrestling and I'm making enough money to support my family, but I'm doing it with my best friends. And like there's no way I could have ever thought about this as a dream.
The Young Bucks are here at Florida Supercon too.
Yeah.
But they're not part of FSCW. They're going to have their booth, they're going to do a Q&A, and a lot of good stuff like that. Do you know what they would think about this? Oh, they would love this. I've already been sending them some videos and stuff. The Young Bucks would dig this kind of a thing. They're not so into cosplay like I am. They dabbled in a little bit at Fyter Fest. They did the Ryu and Ken that my wife had made them. So they dabble in it. It's not like they're against it or anything. But they admit it every time they're at conventions that they're out of their element. This isn't their kind of a crowd, but like they understand it. They know
how passionate people are behind it, and they love it too. They loved doing that Ryu and Ken, so maybe I can get them to do a little bit more. We'll see.
How do you feel about, you mentioned that with the family and this has become more than a dream, but what would you have been doing if you weren't pro wrestling?
Before I got back into wrestling, for 7 years there I was out of wrestling. I was a personal trainer, funny enough. Yeah, so still within like, fitness and wellness and, always pay attention to my body and being healthy and stuff. So that's always been like a second passion of mine. So probably something with that, or if I wasn't a wrestler, I'd probably, just like my secondary contract is, I'd be doing something behind the scenes with wrestling, I think. I feel like I've always kind of had a mind for wrestling, and so it kind of, whether if I'm in the ring or behind the scenes helping with someone else's stuff, it's always just been like my way of thinking.
Has that something you've been able to do, is work behind the scenes and help with other creative and other things?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff, it's the Bucks and me bouncing ideas back and forth for their show Being the Elite. It's a lot, it's more the way it goes is they'll come up with bits and then I'll just build on top of it kind of a thing. So I'm usually just like helping fine tune or help like the wording of like, oh, well, we wanted to say this, how should we say it? And that's where I kind of help with them. I film a lot of the stuff they're trying to do at this point. They're just, oh, Brandon, can you get this done for us? Oh yeah, I'll go handle it. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm taking a lot of stress off of their shoulders is essentially my job.
Social media is huge, and did anyone fathom, or how can you fathom, but just Being the Elite just went nuts,
Yeah.
crazy,
Oh, yeah.
so much interest. When you were first involved with it, did anyone have an inclination just how big this thing could get?
Yeah, well, when they first started, it was just the Bucks and Kenny just wanting to do road diaries, honestly. It was just them being like, and I felt it the other night, I was just in my hotel room alone, and I was like, I could see why you guys started like Being the Elite and doing bits, because like, it just gets boring when you have nowhere to go, when you're in a hotel room, you're in a city you're not familiar with. And we've always been the type, like, we're not gonna go out and party, we're not gonna go find something, like, we're just gonna be reserved, we're just gonna stay in our room. And I could see why they would be like, oh, well, let's just film a bit, let's just do something we got a match coming up, why don't we do something and build towards it or something. And yeah, they've always said they never knew it would blow up as big as it did. And even when I would like help them and do stuff, I never knew its true power of how much it can build something out of thin air until the episode when I got signed and I balled. And the next show they had, the Double or Nothing at StarCast, that whole weekend, people, the entire weekend, nonstop, would be coming up to me telling me how they were emotionally moved by it or how they cried by it, and how everyone at the show this whole weekend knew who I was from that clip. And they had no idea who I was beforehand. So that alone was like my aha of like, oh my God, like that within a clip, it could just make someone kind of a thing, or like at least put you on the radar of so many people. And so that's when I first experienced it's like, personally experienced its true power of how much reach it has in the wrestling world.
With that, did you ever think of maybe now doing your own too?
No, I think it's enough helping them with Being the Elite. Even that I'm helping them now, it's still, there's so much to get. There was one night at the show, oh my God, we didn't sleep for, I think we only slept for like an hour actually on that, and so they're amassing more people to help with it, and we're still not getting it. Yeah, it's a lot to just do that, and it's like why do anything else when that works? Like why not just help build that and flourish that? Like it already works. It'd always be viewed as like, oh well, this is a little side thing to that. It's like, no, just build the big thing, and then you don't got to do any other projects.
Brandon, were you athletic growing up?
Not necessarily athletic. Like I always felt like it was always that feeling I knew I could do stuff, but I always had a little bit of fear. Like I always knew I could backflip or I could do these things, but I always had a fear of like, even if I had landed, I'd still be like, all right, well, I can't do that again. Like, thank God I did it once or something. So like, I feel like physically I was always like athletic and I could do stuff because anything I would try, I could usually pick it up quickly. I think it was mentally I was holding myself back a lot. And then so this last time when I came back for this last 2 years now, I've been keeping that in mind of like, man, like you were always capable of more, you just didn't let yourself do it. And so this time coming back, I took that out of my head. Like I've been completely like, no, you could do it, have the confidence. Like you've backflipped so many times, why would this time be any different? Like, so I've been trying to be more athletic with this run now,
something?
More as like a personal goal, not even necessarily to flash or awe anybody. It's more like do what you know you always could do, but like you're always afraid to do. So that's kind of my own objective I'm doing in my matches.
What were you like when you were young? What were you into when you were young?
Just video games, honestly. I wasn't really physical. I was always good at running. I remember in high school, if I wanted to, I could finish like, the mile that you have to do every week. I could finish it. I think it was like 5 or 6 minutes was the fastest I could do it in. And I did it once just because I was sick of running. I just wanted to get it over with. Not just because I was like, oh, I'm good at this or I know how to like breathe. I just did it because I was like, I just don't want to make it last long, and never did it again. But because I was like one of those kinds of like where I was like, oh, I'll just run for like a minute and then I'll stop and run for a minute. So there's a lot of just, like anyone growing up, is you're in your head a lot. You don't know what you're really capable of. You don't want to like do it and then like, become like, oh, you get a reputation for running, or you're a skinny guy, of course you can. Or, it's all mental games in high school. So I'm overcoming a lot of that as an adult now, where you got way too many problems as an adult to care about any of that.
Where did you go to high school in California?
Yeah, I went to Altaloma High School for my first 3 years, and then senior year we moved, and I was like, I don't want to go to a new school as a senior. Again, a lot of mental like issues of like, I don't want to be the new kid for a senior year, so I got homeschooled. And funny enough, I had better grades in homeschool than I ever did in high school.
And then, did you go to college or no college?
I did community college for 2 years. I got an associate's degree. Anyone that has an associate's degree knows that means nothing. But, yeah, so I have that, if that means anything.
All right, so we'll start talking a little FSCW, wrap this up. You're going to be playing Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
What a cool character. Tell us about Cobra Commander and when you found out that was what you were going to be.
Yeah, he's a hilarious character. He's what we all know growing up in like 80s and 90s as like the classic villain of, you foiled my plans, and he's got the over-the-top voice. He's, delegates to everyone else, never takes the blame kind of a thing. I loved it. And when I heard that I was going to do it, my wife and her brother are huge G.I. Joe fans. I was always just like casual, like I knew of the characters, but I didn't know deep dive anything. And my wife and her brother, they used to have all the figures. They would know everybody. Like I'd ask her, like I didn't know Baroness. Like that's how much I knew. I knew real core people. That's it. And so I was like, yeah, they're gonna have me like do something with Baroness too. And my wife's like, oh my god, like that's his like right hand guy. I'm like, oh okay, all right.
And what do you think about getting out there? How nervous are you? How happy are you? I mean, you're just getting ready to start. The show's tonight. This is day one. So this is your first time getting out there.
I'm a lot more just excited than nervous of anything. With this, it's a lot just more common because I get to be, already with wrestling, you get to just kind of like somewhat put on a mask and just be someone else, and you don't got to be yourself for a little bit. This, it's like I'm doubling up on the masks, like, even that I will have one, but it's a lot more like, less stressful because it's I'm under a mask. I'm gonna just be this other character. I don't gotta worry about like, oh, is it Brandon that messed up? Or if I mess up as Cobra Commander, everyone's gonna love it kind of a thing. So there's no stress at all. It's more excitement because I wanna do so much with this company that I'm like, oh, this just works. Wrestling and cosplay, like, it just is supposed to have fun. Let's just have some fun.
Comic books and video games. You said video games. What were are some of your favorites?
Oh man, I'm trying to narrow it down. I know one of the games I played the most growing up was No Mercy. Everyone that had that probably knows. I think it's because for a while there was no other wrestling games that were good afterward, and so we just keep playing that, waiting for another good one after. But yeah, No Mercy played countless hours on. I played a lot of Call of Duty and Zombies and stuff. Oh yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think of the more recent stuff. Apex Legends has been something I've played a lot of. I wish I could play Sea of Thieves more because I love that. I love pirate stuff. But yeah, growing up it was all the usual Nintendo stuff, Donkey Kong, Mortal Kombat, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, the stuff everyone knows, lately I've been playing a bunch of Smash too, in which I recently cosplayed as Captain Falcon. And I've been posting those pictures up, and that's something I want to bring to FSCW.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for taking the time. Do you have social media for anyone out there?
On Instagram and on Twitter, you can catch me at Brand Cutler, B-R-A-N Cutler.